Hello, people of the internet, and welcome to today's video. Normally, I kind of stream Dark Souls or Pokemon or whatever it is, but today I thought I'd take a different approach and just kind of ramble on about something that I'm quite passionate about and quite like, and that is anime. As you can tell by the t-shirt I'm wearing, nice Majin Vegeta t-shirt. And yeah, what I want to talk about anime today is fights, and more specifically, how you can get people into anime via showing them fights and what makes a good fight. Um, so yeah, that's kind of how I've got into most of the anime I've ever watched, is through either recommendations of a friend, tell me to watch such and such fight, or seeing a fight in an AMV, another kind of key way I've watched or gotten into animes before. So yeah, for today's topic, well, it's kind of what makes a great anime fight, and how you can try and show your friends, family, whoever, and try and get them into the anime that you want to watch, by recommending them a fight. So yeah, most people I don't think want to watch a show or invest in a show if they're not going to be too sure they like it. So like yeah, that could be a case of watching 700 and a million episodes of One Piece and tell them, look, One Piece got 700 episodes, watch it, you'll enjoy it. Instead, maybe show them a fight from One Piece. And that could get them into it. I don't know why I picked One Piece because I don't know any fights off the top of my head. Actually, I don't tell a lie. I know Luffy versus Kaido with Gear 5, which that fight is unique in a sense. I think it introduced Luffy's new form and shows off the kind of goofiness of fights with anime. It was more a slice of life fight, I thought, rather than a Shonen Jump style two people fighting. That's it. It kind of went a bit goofy with it, a bit Looney Tunes esque, which I think was the point of Gear 5. So yeah, if you're kind of friends maybe like that kind of style of old Cartoon Network shows, maybe try to show them Luffy versus Kaido and you'd be surprised. And like, oh, that was interesting. Let me maybe watch that. Other people probably don't want to learn all about the lore of a show, but if you still show them a fight that has lore aspects, I suspect they'll maybe be intrigued and want to know more. Kind of fights like that for me are Obito versus Kakashi in Naruto. You see them battling as kids. As it transitions through the fight, it tells a story. And yeah, so that's kind of how that fight could be. And people don't want to know when an anime is going to get good. So you could show them an early fight from Naruto, for example. For me, that fight would be Zabuza versus Kakashi, which is one of the first, I think, in one of the first 30 episodes. And that fight kind of hook a lot of people. If that's not the fight you want to show people, maybe show them something like Gaara versus Rock Lee. And that's the fight I'll be talking probably about more throughout this little kind of just blethering that we're doing. So yeah, what makes an anime fight great? Lots of different things make them great. To me, I have kind of top maybe 3-4 things that make a fight great. And I think either a fight needs one of these or all of these to make it the perfect fight. And that is good choreography, so a good fight. Fight should be like dancing. It's a kind of pay tribute to Madara there, when he asks people to dance with him when he's fighting, and that should be a case of one person leads the fight, one person's following, backing up, and then it transitions, and the other person's leading and fighting and pushing forward. This can be hand-to-hand combat, gun combat, swords, magic powers, anything really. So yeah, that's kind of one of the things that makes a good fight is choreography. You should always kind of know what the characters are doing in a fight. It shouldn't be just a mess on a screen. You should be able to kind of pinpoint and tell he's throwing a punch, he's doing this. I said it's like dancing is the kind of adjective that I like to use for that. Another thing I think makes a great fight is the music in the background, either an OST, sound effects. So yeah, kind of Naruto. I think as a Naruto, I'm a big Naruto fan, as you can probably tell in this first 5-10 minutes of speaking here. Is Naruto has such good music, especially when it's the fighting spirit and it's just and you know something cool's about to happen. Or you could go Dragon Ball and you have specific themes for certain villains or heroes, like Goku's theme or one of my favourites, Perfect Cells. That also plays a fact. Or you could have a fight that has an actual song in the background, either through an AMV, something like one of my favorite AMVs ever is Indestructible, and it's Madara introduction to the fourth Great Shinobi War arc, where he's taking on the Alliance. I said, one, I'm a Disturbed fan, and two, it's just a great scene. It just emphasizes how powerful Madara is. The music works with it. So yeah, maybe you don't want to show them a fight from the show, or show them the actual fight in the show where it's all the dialogue and all the original soundtrack. Maybe you want to show them a clip or a snippet, and that could be in the form of an AMV. Other kind of things I think make a good fight is the impact it has and the storytelling. It's all well and good seeing swords clash, but there's no stakes, no problems, no nothing is ever going to happen with it. Instead, when you've got fights again like Kakashi Obito or Sasuke Naruto, that fight's telling a story bit by bit. And yeah, so you could be watching the show, but you're seeing the whole show from this Naruto and Sasuke fight, is it goes through their fights as children, their fights as the start of Shippuden, mid Shippuden, and end of Shippuden. It tells the story of all the people that Naruto's had help him along the way. Jiraiya, Minato, it's, Sakura, Kakashi, Iruka, in their final Chidori and Rasengan clash. And you see Sasuke's been alone, but there's always been someone there for Sasuke, and that's Itachi. You see his hand hover over the Chidori. And yeah, that fight tells such a good story. As does Kakashi and Obito, as I mentioned earlier on. It tells the stories of them fighting as kids. Shows their fighting styles haven't changed that much, and they're still using the same tactics, yet it still works. So yeah, that kind of, there's a couple of good storytelling fights. Or you could have a fight like Majin Vegeta versus Goku in Dragon Ball, where it tells a bit of a different story. So maybe you've not watched all Dragon Ball, but you've always known Vegeta and Goku have had a little bit of a rivalry. But then during or after the Cell arc, that rivalry kind of fades to black. No one knows what happens because Goku's dead. And all of a sudden he comes back in Majin Buu arc, and Vegeta never gets his fight with Goku. Never gets to test his rival. So then Vegeta lets Babidi do his little evil magic stuff and gains power to fight Goku. And again, it's another fight of storytelling where Vegeta feels disrespected by Goku and that he's not being treated seriously. So that's why he's like, when he's got him up against the wall and he's slapping him and screaming at him, it's because it's telling a story of Vegeta being frustrated rather than Vegeta just wanting to fight for the sake of fighting. So yeah, that can be another big thing of fights is emotional stakes. So kind of could be someone protecting someone. A lot of kind of My Hero Academia fights are that. The little guy Deku fighting for all the little guys. Rivalries, as I've mentioned, Kakashi, Obito, Sasuke, Naruto, Goku, Vegeta. Again, that kind of falls in another thing like ideology classes, or clashes, should I say, where you've got good versus bad, Jedi versus the Sith. You know it's two opposing factors, and one's going to come out on top. So yeah, that's kind of all the things that I would say goes into a fight to make it good. And yeah, kind of also another kind of thing that maybe comes into it is growth and how you see someone progress in a fight. And you could watch the first episode of a fight and watch somebody be completely useless, completely waste of space material, doesn't look like they're going to do anything, to then them fighting in some of the biggest battles later on in the show and actually showing that they're actually a capable character. Kind of maybe Sakura falls in that camp from Naruto, where she doesn't get too many fights. She's got Sakura versus Ino in part 1, and I think she has a few others that I can't remember off the top of my head. But then in Shippuden, she gets one of the first big fights against the Akatsuki members, who are the big bads of Naruto, and she wins that fight. And again, that's just showing character growth. And yeah, so she goes from almost doing nothing, always being classed as a useless character, to, albeit with the help of Granny Chio, beating an Akatsuki member that no one up until that point of the show had done. Showing, from going from here to then here in terms of power. That's kind of what makes a good fight. Next thing I maybe want to talk about is why I think fights are good to show people. If you want to get them into a show. And that could be anything from, you want to show them something cool, like a ufotable fight where it looks very pretty, very gorgeous, either Demon Slayer or Fate Stay Nights, other shows they've done I can't think of the top of my head. Those fights are always kind of breathtaking, visually stunning, and for someone that's maybe not no anime for being that visual, kind of very good looking show, that's maybe a fight to show them, like something like Shiro versus Archer, another ideology clash fight, but it has stunning graphics, or Shiro versus Gilgamesh at the end of UBW and some of the Heaven's Feel fights as well. Or any Demon Slayer fight, given how popular Demon Slayer is at the minute. I think you could go around most people and ask, have you heard of Demon Slayer? And most people, even if they don't know anime, maybe have said they've heard of it. And you could show them a fight from Demon Slayer and they could be like, whoa, that shit's cool. Just off of showing them one little fight where their kind of visuals are breathtaking and it does a bit of storytelling as well. That's kind of why introducing fights to someone who doesn't know anime could work, and get them into an anime. That's certainly how I got into a lot of the anime. As I mentioned at the start of the video, is either my friend showing me an AMV or me seeing a YouTube video of such and such fight. A perfect example of that is because I mentioned Naruto is probably one of my favourite shows. Is I was in college at the time. I think we were having a free period or just chilling or not being lazy, not studying, whatever it was. And just off the corner of my eye, caught one of my colleagues watching a fight from Naruto. I think it was, if I remember right, was Naruto versus Orochimaru, which is a fairly early fight in Shippuden. And again, not really a fight that's hailed as the best fight in the show. I think it ranks quite low in other people's ranking videos. I could be wrong. But for me, just seeing that fight, I hadn't really watched anime at that time, up until that point. Again, I was one of those kids that never really got into anime, never really gave it a chance. And then seeing that, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Watched it again on my own, and then decided to go down the route of buying one of the Ninja Storm games and playing the Ninja Storm game to try and get into the show. And that did work. I then, that summer, so I think I watched the fight in June, started watching Naruto in July, and I'd caught up to where it was airing by the end of August. So I'd watched, basically binged Naruto in about 2 months, all because I'd seen just a little clip of a fight, and I thought, that looks cool. What is that, and how can I watch more of it? To the point that I was reading the manga, that's kind of how I got into Naruto, was just through, even again, a fight that wasn't rated highly across the board in Naruto. I could have seen Naruto versus Sasuke in end of part 1. I could have seen Gaara versus Rock Lee, which again is, I think, one of the fights that, if you're wanting to get someone into anime, you show them Gaara versus Rock Lee, because it has almost everything that I've talked about up until this point. It has storytelling, it has good choreography, it has good music. It shows someone, again, fighting for the small guy, Lee, who's fighting up against Gaara. At this point, we've been told is unbeatable. No one's ever touched him. To then Lee being almost like kind of gag character in the show. Only ever real fight we've ever seen to him at that point was fighting Sasuke before the Chunin exams. And a little bit during the Forest of Death or whatever it is. And yeah, we're like, how is this guy going to beat Gaara? Gaara up until this point's killed everyone he's came across, and looks like he will kill Lee. It starts off slow, starts off with Lee not getting much of Gaara, then Lee starts kind of loosening up, opening the gates as such, and once he starts opening the gates, you start seeing what he can do, and then you get the kind of midpoint of the fight where he drops the weights and you see him go from slow, not doing anything, to kicking Gaara's ass, and to Gaara then showing panic and fear in his face, which we hadn't seen up until that point. So yeah. Sorry, my neighbour's making noise. It's kind of distracted me. Yeah, you see that kind of Gaara showing fear and showing that, oh shit, someone can actually go toe to toe with me. So that's another good fight to show someone. And yeah, how do you kind of pick the perfect fight to show someone is another topic I want to discuss. You've got so many options. It all depends on the person you know. So say for example you know someone that likes a bit of medieval kind of sword fighting or like Star Wars, and they might like kind of dueling swords. Show them something like Archer versus Shield, where it's a class of swords. It's not a traditional sword fight in a sense, but again it has great visuals, great bit of storytelling, and that could be it. Or show them something from Demon Slayer, another show that revolves around swords. Again, you've got great music in Demon Slayer. It's again a worldwide known show. The fact it's I get knocked off One Piece as the best selling manga at one point tells you how good it was. And the fact it was getting international cinema releases for the various films that came out. Often to me that's kind of tells you that a show is popular enough to warrant getting a UK cinema release compared to just being released in Japan or just released online on Crunchyroll or something like that. Is that you can actually see it in cinema. So yeah, that's kind of one way to show them, kind of, or say maybe like someone that likes comic books and the superhero kind of genre. Something like My Hero Academia might more appeal to them. Could show them something like All Might's Last Stand against One for All, where it looks like your big hero is away to die and he's not going to beat the bad guy, but he kind of somehow pulls through, and you see the reaction of the fellow Class 1A guys. It shows that kind of emotion. That's kind of another one for me that you could show people. Where's my script that I've got? Or say you've got a show that doesn't have a lot of fights, but you still want to get someone into a show. You could show somebody like, to get them into Attack on Titan, for example, Levi versus the Beast Titan. It's not really a fight as such. It's more just a one man killing, one man army, basically. And Levi killing, 10 Titans to get to the Beast Titan. And then in 30 seconds blitzing the Beast Titan and having him ready to cut off his head, if I remember it right. Again, another fight where it's visually breathtaking. And yeah, again, tells a story. If you'd watched the show up until that point, you know the Beast Titan was one of the big bads and had killed a lot of Levi's comrades. Up until that point, from just kind of crushing them all up, throwing them, you see the kind of desperation that Levi has in his face and the kind of anger almost to just kill and just to fight the Beast Titan, and shows you his skill level compared to the fodder that the Beast Titan fought up until that point. Is kind of what I was trying to mean there. So yeah, I think I've rambled on enough about fights. Obviously, when I kind of want to try and edit this, I don't know, I'm going to keep this bit in, is I'll try and include snippets from like fight. I'll try and cut off bits where I can just don't speak for a few minutes. So yeah, if you see this, it means I've actually uploaded this, and that's awesome because I haven't done this in ages. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed listening to me ramble on about why fights are such a good medium to show someone and try and get them into an anime, is because there's so much you can tell with a fight, and there's so many variation in fights. So yeah, you can, as I said, show someone Gaara versus Lee, that'll probably get them into Naruto. Show them, as I said, the Beast Titan versus Levi, you can get them into Attack on Titan. Show them any Demon Slayer fight, because Demon Slayer is visually one of the best looking shows out there, and there's a good chance they'll watch it. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed watching. If you liked it, like the video. Feel free to comment any fights you've recommended friends, your top fights, any other weird anime topics you want me to cover. Again, I'll probably cover Naruto because it's probably the show I know the most, and anime fights, because again, that's how I get into shows. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and have an awesome night wherever you are, or awesome day, or whatever it is.